Hello again, digital neighbors. This is iJimTM, and I wanted to show you a train station that I've been working on. So, let's say we want to go to Sword. Just flip Sword, hop into Departures. Here's a cart. Let's go on our way. And what do you know? We hit Sword. And then we just come on back. And when we come back over to our arrivals gate, our cart is automatically picked up, and we are good to go. We just walk out. Now this can look a little bit confusing, but don't worry. It's very compact, and it is pretty survival friendly. I'd actually designed this for the Digit server. Our post office rail station is going to be getting a major overhaul, and I wanted to show you A, how I did it, and B, what it's going to look like. Now there's a lot of features that are built into this. Even though it is rather compact and survival friendly, it does get a lot done. For instance, if you head over to Departures, but you're not ready to go yet, and you accidentally hop off, it's not a problem. We have an automatic man detector, and if there's nobody in the cart, it will just deposit you around and put the cart back into the system without even touching the destination lines. Also, when it comes to the destinations, let's say we want to go to, I think that's Bookshelf. It'll automatically swap the rail. You head over to your destination, and what I like is you don't come back the same path, so you never actually touch the destination line. The tracks are relatively one-way, so if you decide to, when you're coming back, it doesn't matter what destinations are set. You are automatically set back down the return line. And with the return line, I'll explain this little dongle right here in a second. You automatically get sent back the same way as the empty carts and are deposited. It makes for a very efficient system that you don't have to worry about getting clumped up. Now, in regards to the little dongle I'm talking about right here, this is just to ensure that everything stays one way. This way, no matter what happens, once you leave, you either A, get deposited if you are not a manned cart back into the system, or towards your destination. With the stone pressure plate on top of a wooden fence, it automatically detects you and sends you down the right way. And this way, this little piece right here is most often used for lag situations or heavy use. That way, no matter what happens on your way back, if people or carts get bunched up and get sent back the other direction, you're not going to be sent back down towards the line and towards your destination again. You're not going to be sent back towards the departures gate and come up the works. And if you do, everybody does kind of bounce around, you can just kind of come back around the loop, and everyone will eventually be sorted back towards arrivals. That way everything stays nice, simple, and fluid no matter what. And it does look a little bit technical and a little bit scary, but don't worry, I will be explaining everything. Now let's set the date today real quick. Now the technical aspect of the departures and arrivals gate is modeled right here, and it's actually very simple. Everything is based off of this one pressure plate. So under the pressure plate, I just have a piece of redstone. Now that redstone does two things. First, it gets sent around with the signal inverted over to these two blocks. This repeater right here is so that it does not interfere with the redstone dust underneath. And what happens over here is that there are two torches. The redstone dust and this actually first hits this torch, which is normally always on, making sure that this track is always powered on. Again, to help with the lag situation. Whoops, let's put this block right here. Boom. Now what that means is that no matter what happens, once you're off that pressure plate, you will be eventually sent on your way. Another thing that happens when you step on this pressure plate is it will then send the signal over here to this repeater, which has an inverted signal already, which then sends a tick to this dropper, which puts a cart into the dispenser, and the dispenser will then dispense the minecart. So you're free to hop in and be sent along your merry way to be automatically collected. The cactus here will automatically break the minecart and send it through this little hopper chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hoppers, down into the dropper, which then when activated by the signal, will send a cart up and over. Normally that means that you would have one tick before the cart would be able to dispense, so you'd have to step on the pressure plate twice. However, that is easily fixable by making sure that there are carts already in the dispenser. That way, one dispensed, one's automatically refilled, and the hoppers can store plenty. Being able to hold 9, both in the dropper down here, the dispenser, and then 5 in each of these hoppers allows for even the most populated servers to have plenty of minecarts at their disposal. The block on top of the cactus, on top of making sure that it doesn't grow, also ensures that the player is actually never really harmed by the cactus, making sure that it is indeed a safe system. Now, hiding the redstone, which I think is I don't do a fantastic job of it, but I do believe that you don't want to have a bunch of wire hanging about, and you definitely do not want one-wide arches, or one-high arches, that I should say, temporarily strangling the player. A lot of times in a situation where you may be heading home, you may have come back from a fight, you may not have food on you. I know on the Dig It server we play on hard, which means that every little heart counts, and the last thing we want to do is accidentally suffocate. And so hiding the redstone to make sure that we prevent any archways is kind of a necessity. So in regards to this pressure plate, to automatically switch the rail between unmanned and manned, I just have the redstone run underneath. And over here, this torch actually is not part of the system. That is just to keep the redstone powered for the rail. However, the redstone is followed underneath and is inverted into this torch. So that way, that torch, kind of like a simple redstone ladder, which I make use of in the double-decker system, which I will show you next, allows you to switch back and forth while still staying relatively easily hidden. Just put some blocks in front, kind of how I have over here. I have kept things relatively cut away in this version so that you can see what I've done. Now, the original way that I had set up for the track selection was based every other block when it came to the lever selection. That way, when you flip the lever, not only did it activate the glowstone, but it activated the one rail selection. This way, when you're going through, normally the rails are the swapped rails are going this way, so no matter what happens, you go forward. You make the selection, and it switches the rails so you go towards your destination. This is fine, and this is probably the least redstone or resource-intensive way to do it. However, in the interest of making things a little bit more compact, and then of course adding my double-decker system, I decided to try and see what I could do to make it every single block. And the way that I was able to do this was through the addition of repeaters. And with the repeaters, that way the signal cannot cross-travel sideways. This way, every other block still will feed into the normal system. So if I go over here and flip this lever, it switches this piece of track, and you go this direction. However, every other slot, the ones that are not filled over, as said, done over here, go instead of 2 repeaters over into a block, actually travel into a simple redstone ladder. So we have a block with a torch, which comes up over here. So that I've done this in a bit of a cutaway view. So when you come over here, then that redstone signal, the torch is actually directly underneath this block. So if we were to go down and flip this lever, we can see that this is our destination selected. We come up and that track has been chosen. That way, you just come back around and you pop up. It may make trying to choose logistics a little bit more difficult during creation, but once again with the rail system, once you've got everything set up, who needs to worry? And I try to keep things as simple as possible in the aftermath. So once you have your destination set, you are good to go. Just remember, every other block is on one floor, and then the blocks not touched are on the second. So when it all comes together, you have, well, this. And it looks very confusing, I do admit, but as you saw, it is actually relatively compact and simple. All you have here is your departures and arrivals, which I have set up over here. Everything can be covered nice and flush. I do have a slab here to ensure that players cannot hop in, not for fear of malice, but just to make sure that everything stays relatively gunk-free. Also, it makes for a nice, easy stopping point, so you just click on the cart, and you are on your way. After that, you just have your track selection. The one that is on the Dig It server does not have the double-decker system set up as of yet. We've not had a need, but it's nice to know that the scalability is there if we have to. Just using the repeater setup, and every other block being the redstone ladder. So, at the end of the day, we all want a little bit of dessert, so our final destination, let's grab some cake. So we just hop in, and of course, we are sent directly to our cake. Have a wonderful one, everybody. This is IGMTM, and this is my train station.